Hello everybody and welcome back to another Dad Reacts video. Today, coming to you live from Cancun.
Don't lie. That's just the green screen.
This one, yeah, another green screen picture, yeah. Boys, so actually, well, again, Martin, James, welcome to the reaction. This is your first React video, actually. You don't normally do the...
No, it's first
React.
one.
Dad's React, because you're not a dad anyway.
That's it. That's true.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know. He could be.
Well, he could
that's
be,
also
Until
true.
he isn't coming on because he doesn't like rotor racing. But look, actually, so I wasn't actually going to do a video with these because I am on holiday. But I was just so outraged by what I was watching on Sunday. So I thought, let's have a chat. Let's have a chat about the. I know, Fairs, I know, Martin, you've been also upset by what you were watching. So, yeah, Lewis Hamilton,
Like
robbed, or was it a fair defeat?
Do you know? I think robbed is too kind of a phrase.
Yeah.
Like, just. I don't think it's hard. We need to put it into words, but I think it's just. Yeah.
So for anyone who doesn't know, the F1 was on Sunday. So anyone that's been living under a rock,
AD.
Evening AD. Yeah. Anyone who's been living under a rock, the F1 was on Sunday. And it was the final race, and it was a shootout effectively between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton needed to finish both same points, but Max had more race victories.
One more win, 9 wins to Lewis's 8.
Correct.
So Lewis had to finish the race ahead of Max to win the lead. Max starts on pole because he had a blistering last P3, didn't he, in qualifying?
Yeah, he got a pull, didn't he?
Perez.
By Perez.
Was that what it was?
Yeah. On the last lap.
Yeah. I know he smashed it. Anyway,
He did.
So starts on pole. Lewis smashes him, gets past him, and then pretty much dominates the race for 53 laps. And then Latifi decides he's going to crash his car. And
He had contact with Mick. He had a contact with Mick Schumacher, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was quite interesting.
Bear in mind, we've got to go back. That Hamilton is how many seconds? 11 seconds ahead.
11. Yeah. So at this point,
they had 19 or 20 laps left.
No, less than that. When the five.
The safety car come out.
5
laps
not
for Latif.
No. This is prior to
the first safety car came out.
First safety car comes out. Verstappen pits, gets onto fresh tyres.
Yeah.
I think goes onto softs, doesn't he? Hamilton doesn't pit, and he's already done like 25 laps on his.
Verstappen got a fresh set of hards on.
Hards.
Yeah, so it was basically a
20
VSC,
seconds behind.
So it's a virtual safety car, so they have to go a certain speed. Verstappen pit, Hamilton couldn't, or he'd lose the lead. What meant he was on fresher tyres. He was 20 odd seconds behind. He got it back to 11.
Yeah.
However, it started because his tyres started to go as well. Verstappen's, it was kind of maintaining at that kind of.
It was a foregone conclusion because Verstappen had to be 0.81 of a lap faster than Hamilton every lap for 20 odd laps.
Yeah.
And it just got to the stage where we were all just sitting there going, he's not doing it now.
No.
Pointless. Miracle needs to happen. In steps Massi.
Yeah.
It was one of them where. Thing is, I haven't got a problem with Verstappen in this race at all. He did nothing wrong. Red Bull, as in the Red Bull team, Horner I've got a bit of an issue with, but the Red Bull team, bringing him in for when the safety come in, it's a no-brainer. Put him on soft tyres. He wasn't going to lose a position. It just meant he was behind 5 cars when they went behind the safety car, and Hamilton was first at leading.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where one of the issues came in. But
bearing in mind those 5 cars were fighting, they were bulldogging for position as well.
Yeah. And it kind of got to the situation where when they were under the safety car, the FIA, Massi had said, look, we're not going to let the lap cars go past the safety car. That's the first decision. So everyone actually agreed with it and went, okay, because there wasn't much time.
But weren't the rules either they let the lap cars go past, race over, Hamilton wins, or they don't let the lap cars go past, one lap, race goes.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Well, that was what everybody was thinking. And then the next thing,
this is where it was interesting because Horner then was on the old blower and said, "Look, what's going on? Why aren't you letting the lap cars pass? We only need one. And then from there, suddenly, literally a minute later, them 5 cars go past the safety car, and then 30 seconds after that, safety car in this lap. What is completely against the rules if you look at what the FIA have...
And we all knew what was going to happen.
He was a sitting duck. He was a sitting duck, Lewis, after that.
Could you imagine me and Lewis sitting there, driving, going, right, the rules are this, because obviously they've got it in his ear.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, I've got 5 cars to help me. And if they'd have kept the 5 cars there, it would have still been...
it would have been interesting.
Yes.
Because they would have probably got out of the way quite quickly, the 5 cars.
But also, they're not like this. They're not toe-to-toe.
No.
And Hamilton did well.
I think the interesting thing about keeping the cars there is that there was only 2 or 3 corners he probably could have got past him on. And he probably wouldn't have got past the 5 cars before those 5 corners. So before those 3 corners, so Hamilton would have kept the lead. But I think the fairest thing for them to have done is, let's say 55 laps, pull up, red flag it.
Yeah, I think you said that, didn't you, Fez?
Yeah.
Let everyone put the fresh tyres on, and then if you want to let them race, let them race, but
one lap.
Be fair.
Yeah, one lap. Off you go.
They could have done even red flagged it as soon as Latifi hit the wall. If you want to make it interesting, make it a show, as they're kind of trying to make it, because that's what they tried to do at the end, make it a show. That would have made it, 5 laps of racing for Verstappen, Hamilton going full out with the soft tyres on as quick as they can for that time. And that would have been, yes, okay, probably Hamilton would still think it's a bit unfair, but he's been able to get on fresher tyres and it would have been them 2 battling it out. What would have been made it still a show for what the FIA...
But a fair race.
But a fair race.
But a fair race.
But that's what it's meant to be. It's all meant to be fair.
Yeah.
And the ending of that wasn't. So Verstappen's world champion until anything's changed. And we can't knock Verstappen. He did what he had to do.
No, yeah, exactly.
But is he now going to be known as the guy that pretty much was handed his championship on a plate?
Yeah, but I think that, for the next year or so, but the history books don't say Verstappen, he was handed it by the FIA.
Is that the same as when Liverpool won the league? There's no fans.
Always got to get Liverpool in, haven't you? Always.
It put a damper on the season for me because it'd been a great season, unreal season. However, I said this to, I can't remember to who actually. I think because my brother's quite a big fan. I think I said it to him. It said the FIA have actually ruined a lot of races this year. Like, it's been all about the FIA. Why haven't they done this? Why haven't they done that? Why did they give him a penalty and then the next race didn't give them a penalty?
It's so inconsistent.
It's been ridiculous. I mean, the race before, when they kind of made a deal with Red Bull and said, the deal is we'll drop you behind Hamilton at the start and then you won't get any penalties. They just made that up on the spot. I mean, how can you make there's rules there for a reason. Surely you've got to stick to the rules. I know you want to go racing and it's all about racing, but if the rules are broken, there's penalties. I don't understand how they could have come to that decision, even with the last race and the race before.
It's a great thing by AD. Well, from my understanding, Mercedes are deliberating whether to appeal or not at the moment, but they've got until Thursday to get it finalised, because that's when it's the awards ceremony or whatever.
I think the biggest problem is. So I watched. Who's the main one commentator? Is it Croft? Is it not Croft? Or?
Yeah, Crofty, yeah.
Crofty, yeah. So I watched his Sky Sports video today on YouTube, and he says the problem that Mercedes have got is, so yes, you've got the two rules, 43-1 or whatever it is, which says all cars should pass. Yes, they're in breach of that, but he said the biggest issue they've got is rule 15 something. I probably should have just written down, but rule 15 something basically says all these rules are superseded by the race steward. So the race steward can just look up his own base and decide what he'd do, what he wants to do.
But there's no point for that.
That's like having a rule book in football and going,
actually,
VAR can do what they want. You know, they can just make up the rules as they go.
Yeah.
And it's...
Yeah, and it was quite obvious for me that the drivers knew as well. The other drivers. How many drivers come out and said, that ain't right? Ricardo's come out, Norris has come out. I know Russell's has gone to Mercedes, but he tweeted straight away what an absolute shit show it was.
Yeah.
You know what I've got to admit though, is how gracious Lewis was.
Yeah. If it was the other way around.
Go back last week, and Max Verstappen
walked off, didn't he?
Walked off from the podium. Basically acted like a dick, but Lewis,
like a child, which is what he is.
Yeah. But Lewis, who has literally just been royally screwed over,
he handled it like a champion.
Yeah,
on the podium,
absolute champion.
Changed. I think it's changed quite a few people's opinions of it.
100%. There's people that I know who didn't like Hamilton, thought he was too arrogant. I don't know, too arrogant, too a little bit lovey-dovey, all about They've come out and said the way he handled that. They just said the other way around. Max would have throwing his
helmet and kicking off left, right, and centre.
Everyone who says it annoyed me because there's people who were commenting on my Facebook post after the race. I was fuming, so I commented. I had to post something. They went, "Oh yeah, but Max Verstappen, well, it happens, doesn't it?" And stuff like that. I just thought, and then they did. Like, one of them commented and put the videos of Hamilton and Verstappen the last lap and said, "Look, this just shows who's the better driver." And I just went,
"How can you understanding?
How can you even say that? Like, he was on 40 laps, old tyres, and then you have Verstappen on fresh soft. No one could defend that in F1. It was so unfair for me."
Somebody commented on one of my posts saying it's the first across the finish line, and I was like, you can't say that. But then somebody gave a great analogy, and I'm just going to try and find it now. Explaining the ending in F1 in football terms.
Gary Lineker said this, I think.
Hamilton was beating Verstappen 7-0. Then the ref decided next goal wins, whilst also sending off 4 Hamilton players to make it more interesting. It's literally, I don't think there's any words for it.
The thing is, they should have either decided it was for me. They should have decided, right, as soon as this thing happens, are we letting the lap cars go or not? As soon as you've made that decision, don't change it. So as soon as they said lap cars aren't going past, that's fine. But then, for me, they made it worse because we heard Horner speak to the FIA and say, "Look,
I need one lap.
Why aren't they going past? We need one lap of racing." And literally a minute later, them cars go past, but you're not going to allow the other cars behind Verstappen to go past. So it kind of, for me,
it was just the 4 cars between Hamilton and Verstappen, not the 5th one.
Yeah, you've been influenced by the Red Bull. It looks like you've been influenced by Red Bull. That frustrated me. And then,
do you think though, Massi's sitting here going, "I've fucked up"? What, like, he's like, shit, I wanted to try and make it a little bit more interesting, a little bit exciting. And
he's not. The thing is, though, probably the truth of it is he's probably not done it off. But he's not like going right. Let's fuck Hamilton. He's
No,
probably not done that. But he's been around motorsport long enough to understand that if he puts Lewis in that situation, there's nothing Lewis can do. And it's not one race and we can recover in a couple of weeks. It's the championship decider.
Yeah.
You know, he's probably sitting there going, do I want the showdown, the Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton showdown to end on a safety car? You know, they've built this up to be...
There's precedent for it, though.
Yeah,
there's precedent for it end to end.
Well, Carlos Sainz said he was driving around. This is behind, obviously, some of the lap cars, and then he came third. So, and what was annoying is he got disadvantaged as well. So Verstappen was right behind Hamilton, but he was miles back from Verstappen, so he couldn't even have a go at Verstappen.
Well, yeah.
So he could have come second. He might have done.
He could have come first.
He could have beat both of them.
Yeah.
You don't know, but he said it's got to end under a safety car. If not, the advantage of people with pit literally the lap before. And he's right. And he also said how can this be happening that lap cars are going past and some aren't? This is what during the race.
Why wasn't Carlos Sainz up their asses?
Yeah.
Because Verstappen's
level pegging. He should have been.
Yeah. Technically, Carlos Sainz could have been on the outside and he could have had 3 of them lining up.
Yeah.
But they couldn't because there's a lap car in front of him.
Yeah. And that disadvantaged him. You never know. Sainz might have got on the slipstream of Verstappen, done Verstappen in.
Yeah.
And it would have stopped then, and Hamilton would have won. You don't know. But because he wasn't given that opportunity, it's all about fair racing and going racing. Well, it wasn't. It was only two going racing.
And wasn't Bottas 5th at the point? So couldn't he have had an influence if he was closer?
He could have. Yeah, he could have. And so could Perez retired, didn't he? But but Bottas was 5th. He could Mercedes car is unbelievable. So he could have done them 2 on the straight, and he was right up the Verstappen. You don't know. You really don't know what could have happened.
On just going back to the sort of Hamilton hate, I never really understood that. Like I've never got, because to me, like, because people, I've heard one of you said, arrogance. I've never really seen arrogance from him, because you look at some sports stars and you go, yeah, he's completely arrogant. But I've never got that with Hamilton. I
think there's a chunk of it, a chunk of people's issues came through things like the BLM. Like there was a lot of.
I think that's very too simple to say, because I think people haven't hated Hamilton for this last year. People hated Hamilton.
I think that part of it is. I think there's things that he acts and when he comes out and says and what he does, and it's the way he is with certain things that frustrate people. And like I said, I've just found him a little bit arrogant, a little bit, but I also like the guy. I do quite like him, and I do think that. Did you see him do a rap song? Who's that? Lewis Hamilton or Ferris? I haven't seen
Lewis Hamilton's rap song.
Did you see him do a rap song?
Or is that Fez's rap song?
I haven't done it. One thing I'm never doing in my life is a rap song. So.
You should do a Max Verstappen diss track.
Oh, could you imagine?
That'll be out next week on the Christmas podcast for Christmas number 1.
Oh.
I've just never got it. I've never got the whole hey. Do you know what? Because what I've seen a lot of people throw at Hamilton is he doesn't pay tax in the UK, so because he lives in Monaco, doesn't he? So he gets a lot of stick for that. People go, well, he claims he's British, but he doesn't pay tax here. I'm like, mate, if you were 25 million a year and you could live in Monaco and not pay any tax, guess where you live in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, let's be honest, how many tradies and businessmen don't put all their money through? And then they're sitting there. But how many tradies do cash in hand jobs? And and then they're sitting there going, oh, Mr. Hamilton, get fucked. If I could do it, I fucking would.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for doing it in the slightest. The guy's out the country for half the fucking year. round the world racing. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
do you hear
fucking
that? Someone we're clapping.
Oh, they're watching our podcast. They're clapping for me.
No,
I know I talk sense.
That's what they do here when somebody arrives.
Do they?
I've got to go there just to get some attention off anyone.
I'll be honest. It's a bit shit.
Mate, I'd like to say I feel sorry for you, but get fucked.
Anyway, back to the race. So,
Yeah.
what? We've all been on for a little while. What do we think should happen next, and what do we think is going to happen next?
See, what I'd like to happen next is obviously Mercedes take it further. They then do the race result from when the safety car was put out, because after that it was an absolute shambles.
Shit show.
Yeah. However, what I think will happen, even if they go to court or whatever, and Mercedes win, the only thing they will say is that race is invalid. But because Max has got more wins, he's won the championship anyway. So whatever happens, Max has won the championship. Yeah. What's frustrating?
Why Mercedes are like, is it worth
all the money, stress, and all this?
Yeah, we just draw a line in the sand, crack on. Because the problem is, next year,
it's all up in the air.
It's late.
Yeah. That could be Hamilton's last chance.
Yeah.
The new model. I mean, like I sort of said to you before, I'm sure Mercedes will have a car that's able to compete. But will Ferrari, will Red Bull have a quicker car this year? You know,
they will. There's all to be teams.
Let's look at how it's been the last few years. Hamilton's had the fastest car. He's a great driver. You can't take it away from him because you don't win 7 world titles without being a good driver.
I think.
But look what's happened with Red Bull this year.
I think you could put a piece of paper between Red Bull and Mercedes on speed for the last couple of seasons.
This season, for me, Hamilton, I know everyone's gone, and I understand Verstappen's led so many more laps, whatever, more wins, more whatever, poles, whatever. However, like Martin said earlier, literally a minute ago, yes, Mercedes had the quick car before, but the start of this season till literally the last 5 races for me, Red Bull had the better car.
Yeah.
And for Hamilton to still be in the race to win the championship
shows how good a driver he is.
Yeah. There was the thing is, if normally if it's a really unbelievable car and they're smashing everyone, you have the 2 drivers driving that car are in contention for it. So you had, for example, when you had Rosberg and Hamilton, or Bottas has always come second to Hamilton, or whatever.
Vettel, when Vettel was smashing it.
Yeah, exactly. So the fact that Hamilton was able to even keep up with Verstappen and win some races at the start, out of the first 4 races, they won 3. Hamilton won 3 out of the first 4, and Red Bull had the much better car. So for me, even though people were like, well, yeah, Verstappen deserves it. Yes, he's been unreal. But the fact they were going into the last race on the same points, for me, Hamilton deserved the championship.
Hamilton's won one less race.
Yeah. And for me, that Hamilton deserved to win the championship down to that race. Everyone's going for Verstappen deserved it because all the other races, etc., and he's been the better driver. But they're on the same points. In that race,
Hamilton was a better driver.
Decider, Hamilton deserved the win.
Yeah.
He was 100% quicker. I know Mercedes improved their car and his engine. They had an unbelievable engine they put into his car, whatever. He still smashed Verstappen that whole race and had it in control.
Let's change it now, right? Let's go back to the virtual safety car.
Yeah.
Hamilton pits at the same time Verstappen pits.
He couldn't.
Hamilton is winning that race 25, 30 seconds ahead of Verstappen.
I understand that, but I don't know.
If they kept their position. If they kept their positions.
He wouldn't. And if you listen to the radio, the Mercedes didn't bring him in for the last one because they expected the safety car to stay out.
Yeah.
So they would have pitted him. He'd been behind Verstappen, and he wouldn't have had the opportunity to overtake him.
No, that's what
I'm saying is it's all hypothetics, but Hamilton pits, stays in first. Verstappen pit stays in second. Hamilton's ending 25 seconds ahead of Verstappen if the
Oh, at
race
least.
finishes.
At least.
Like, because he's that far ahead already.
Hamilton was unreal. It was like everyone was starting to get nervous because Verstappen was closing in on time. But then it kind of hit the 12-second mark. His tyres went a little bit. But Hamilton on much
Still
older
smashing it.
and was just actually doing quicker laps than Verstappen, was actually gaining back the time, and it was going to 12 seconds, 13. And I was just, well done.
Welcome.
Yeah. International clap.
But yeah, he was smashing on older tyres, and
Yeah.
for me, it just shows how quick he was that race.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, it's gutting because for me, he deserved that 8th title, and what everyone says that, for example, Vettel and all that are going, yeah, well, Schumacher's still the best driver of all time, whatever.
Shut up.
If you win 8 titles, you've won more than anyone else.
Hamilton's still got a chance.
How old is he? But he's got
37.
He's got 2-year contract. He's got a 2-year contract. I think if Mercedes aren't great this year and it doesn't look like they're going to do anything next year, he'll go, see you later.
I think the biggest challenge he's going to have next year is George Russell. Because Russell isn't going to comply like Bottas did.
No.
And isn't going to just bend over and allow Hamilton to win it.
However, I do think that it will take Bottas a little bit of time, Russell a bit of time to get used to the car, get used to how he needs to drive it.
Well, I mean, last year he went in the car, didn't he?
But I also think Hamilton is the quicker driver in the race. Okay, George Russell is a quick qualifier, and you've seen it so many times where he's out-qualified his teammate and been ridiculously overachieving in qualifying. But then you see him in the race. I know he's got a slower car. At the start of the race, you go, you start him, for example, 13th, and you think, here we go. And then a lap later, you say, where's Russell? He's down to 18th, 17th.
19th.
You're like, yeah. You're like, so is his race pace as good as his qualifying? What we'll find out next year.
Do you know who I would have gone for if I was Mercedes? Norris. I think Norris is a
joke. Yeah, he is a joke.
Give him a Mercedes.
Well, I think he'd be competing with Hamilton. Like, it'll be very close.
100%.
I also like the banter between Norris and was it Ricciardo? Ricciardo.
Yeah.
They have I
love that pairing.
Good personalities.
Well, that's one thing that Sky Sports do really well is their F1 coverage, and their like behind the scenes coverage is like spot on. The F1 channel on YouTube is just brilliant for all the backstage coverage and the interaction they do with the different teams and stuff.
Yeah. Have you watched that Netflix
Drive to Survive? It's awful.
I was
Did you not like it?
It's for me. It's like some of the parts. It's good for newcomers into the sport. It gets them involved. So, like when you went to the US Grand Prix, so many more people were there, so many more celebrities were there because of Drive to Survive, and it was dramatic. But if you actually listen and hear some of the sounds and the mic, the team radios and stuff, were from different races, or they were the actual sound of the engine wasn't. It was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the engine sounds, and they're using it for that updated F1 car, and you're like. And it was like some of the radio calls were from 2 seasons ago. They're putting into that race, and you're like, they're making it dramatic. And they were trying to make a rivalry out of Sainz and Norris when they were doing it, like how it's starting to kick off in the thing. And actually, they were fine. Like Sainz and Norris were always like good teammates, and obviously they wanted to beat each other, but there was no tension between them, but they were trying to create tension in it. And
aren't they friends? Aren't they good friends?
Yeah, they go play golf together and stuff like that.
The F1 creating tension and changing the script. That sounds familiar.
Have you seen that? Have you seen that milk challenge they do? Where is it Sainz?
And they're holding the milk and they've got to
holding. So basically, Martin, they each take a drive down through cones and then reverse and at full speed, emergency brake. But the passengers holding like some milk, like a bowl of milk, and they've got to try and keep it as much in as possible, and they just take it in turns. Oh, it's hilarious! I can watch it on.
I'm going to watch it
on
literally as soon as we get off this. I'm watching that.
It's so funny.
It's so good.
But look, wrapping this up, boys. Like I was asked before, what do we think is going to happen?
Nothing.
I think
Mercedes aren't going to go for it. They're just going to
I'm
say,
going to go for it.
"What we're throwing money at the outcome that's going to still be the same outcome. Just Verstappen wins it, Abu Dhabi race 1 rather than Abu Dhabi race whatever it was, race 2. You know, the last race gets null and void. What's the point?"
Yeah. See, I like I said before, I think it's really harsh on Mercedes and Hamilton what happens. I would like to say that the right outcome will happen, but the court that they go to has never gone against the FIA in any case. And even if they did, like I said, I just could see them making that race invalid and just saying, look, that don't count, but Verstappen still wins on race wins. So I can't see this going anywhere. Even if Mercedes do try and appeal and have all their lawyers, I can't see after all this time, and it will go on for a long time, that process, they'll go, actually, Hamilton, you won it because of that. Could you imagine after all that? I don't know, because apparently
I'd love it. I'd love it.
Of course I would. I love that Hamilton would.
I would happily go and pick that trophy up from Verstappen.
Could you imagine just Hamilton knocking on Verstappen's door? Cheers, mate, for that. But yeah, but apparently Hamilton, after the race, was going not to appeal.
Really?
To Toto Wolff, he was going like.
Well, Toto Wolff sent him a message to Verstappen as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Saying congratulations.
Did you see him at the after party? Toto Wolff. I have to send you it. He's like crowd surfing. He's drunk. He's got a boss us in a crowd surfing. So funny. Literally jumps into the crowd. But yeah,
I love Toto Wolff.
Yeah, he's class.
Can I just say something? Do we not think that the dynamics in this trio, the Dad Reacts, is so much better than the duo normally done? What do you reckon?
You should be fuming.
I definitely think. I mean, let's leave it up to the voters and to the public. Do we think the duo of AD and Marco is better than us trio? I mean,
tripod.
Tripod.
Never been called that.
Oh,
ever.
Right, boys. I'm gonna get back to the pool.
You have a wonderful, wonderful week
really
in Cancun, mate.
Really enjoy it.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully you don't get like Delhi belly or anything like that. Hopefully, you really enjoy yourself.
Go and enjoy. Yeah, go and enjoy it.
Yeah. Right, boys. It's been a mosh.
Always.
That's it.
Peace.